Many of us have spent a lifetime feeling a myriad of negative emotions: anger, sadness, grief, worry, or jealousy, to name a few. We've become experts at it, but how many of us are experts at feeling playful, joyful, happy, or grateful? If we were to compare our lives to a cake, our positive emotions tend to be the icing and our negative emotions the cake. In this video, I'm going to cover all the bases as to how we can shift into a better feeling state, no matter the circumstances. But before I do, if at the end of this video you found that it was helpful, then please like and subscribe so this message can reach more people who might also benefit from watching. Finding laughter. As children, most of us have experienced getting into a state of uncontrollable laughter. I remember my brother and I sitting in a restaurant with our parents once when we were little, and he said the silliest thing to me, and I just lost it. I could hardly breathe. I was laughing so hard. And no matter how hard I tried to stop, I couldn't. My mother leaned over and said, "Margot, if you keep this up, they're going to kick us out of this restaurant." Children don't have a hard time laughing till it hurts. But as adults, we've become so conditioned to control our laughter. Most people don't laugh for more than a few seconds at a time. It's as if they want to stop it before it even starts. How many minutes of our lives do we actually spend laughing? When was the last time you laughed so hard that your sides hurt? Most children laugh all the time, and most adults are serious all the time. We take ourselves and life so seriously that we forget to find the playfulness and humor in things. I'll share a graphic story with you so you can see how we can find amusement in the unlikeliest of places. A couple of weeks ago, my special needs daughter had diarrhea. And even though she's 8 years old, she's still in diapers. So I had to change her constantly. During this one instance, when I took her into the bathroom, I cleaned her up as usual. And as I was getting ready to dress her, she had a bout of explosive diarrhea and it went everywhere. There I was kneeling down next to her saying, "Oh shit," and trying to figure out how to clean up the poop as fast as possible. Believe me, I was not having fun, but the moment that I became aware of how I was feeling, I realized I have a choice. I can feel miserable about the situation, or I can find amusement in it and lighten things up. And when I laughed, it made everything that much lighter, that much easier, that much more manageable. In my humble state of being stooped and pooped, I looked over at my innocent little daughter who didn't know any better and felt gratitude for being able to take care of her. When we're having a really bad day or get some really bad news, it's as though the problems we are facing are right in our face. They feel so close to us that they become part of us and we identify with them. We don't have any space from them. And this lack of separation from our negative emotions is what makes them so unbearable. Bringing awareness to what we are feeling is the first step to giving our emotions and problems space. When we can step back and look at what's happening, we can start to remember that we are not our emotions. We can remember that we can allow our emotions to run their course because they are of the body, but we don't have to feed them by giving them more and more energy and focus. We can just let them burn out when they are ready by giving them all the space that they need. This is a real act of self-love because you're not in judgment of what you're feeling and you're not trying to change the emotion. You're finding compassion for it and allowing it to just be, which is very loving. Imagine if a friend you love was having a hard time and they came to you for solace. Would you say, "God, I can't believe you're feeling like this again. Get over it." Or "What's wrong with you?" Or "How could you do such a thing?" No, you wouldn't. And yet we say these things to ourselves when we're in pain. Treat yourself like you would a loved one. Give yourself space to be loving, understanding, and kind. We always have a choice. Some of you might be thinking, well, that's easier said than done, Margot. What if it's something that's really hard to deal with, like the death of a loved one? Here's the thing to remember. Things are going to happen to us that we don't want. Everyone we love, including ourselves, is eventually going to die. And there's no changing that. But we always have a choice when it comes to how we want to perceive things. And how we perceive things dictates how we think and then feel and then act. When there's no changing an outcome, like bringing a loved one back to life, then we have to remind ourselves that we have the choice to decide when we want to begin to heal and start living again. Grief is a very strong emotion, and it can take a long time before we can start to feel like we can function in the world. But if we wait for someone or something to make us feel better, then our only choice will be to wait. Become an expert. Have you ever consciously decided who you want to be? And by this I mean, have you ever deeply thought about the qualities you'd like to possess? Are you someone who wants to be patient, gentle, and loving, but ends up being impatient, harsh, and fearful? Most people let the experiences in their lives dictate who they become. And because of this, they become experts at cultivating the qualities that they've been reacting to. For example, we all know how important it is to find gratitude in our lives. But how many of us remember to make it a daily habit? At the beginning of this video, I mentioned how most of us have become experts at taking life and our problems so seriously because we've practiced that way of being so much. But we can learn to make a conscious decision to change and cultivate new qualities in us by practicing them. Intentionally try on a new behavior for one day and see how you feel. I challenge all of you to wake up one day this week and say to yourself, today I will remind myself all day to be grateful, no matter the circumstance. You can intentionally practice being a new you by practicing a new behavior every single day. And like anything, the more you practice, the better you get. Honoring everything and everyone. When we honor ourselves and everyone around us by remembering our true nature, that we are not separate from anything or anyone, that we are all pure divine consciousness, simply having a human experience, it resets our entire perspective to one of truth. It's like a fast track to setting things right, staying present. Our true happiness is solidified once we remember our true nature. But since our problems are what seemingly block us from being happy, one last thing to mention that is so critical to remember is that problems don't last. Once the problem moment or moments pass, the problem is only held in our memories. In the present moment, which is all there ever is, we don't have any problems. We've become experts at holding on to the past or worrying about a future that may never come. Instead, let's learn from the children around us and remind ourselves to be playful, to not take things so seriously, so we can be lifted up to higher heights and begin to find wholeness again. I love you all so much, and I hope you have a beautiful week. Until next time, remember to let go. Let go of trying to be anything other than the truth of what you are.